The New York Islanders gave an embarrassing performance. The lack of effort complete. We're going to break down what went wrong in their second consecutive shutout loss, all that and more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome, everybody, to the Friday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you can get new episodes as soon as they drop. We have got a lot to discuss on today's show, but first, if there's something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to talk about on a future episode, email us at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we talk about whatever's on your mind. You could also follow the show on X at Locked On Isles, and you could follow me, Gil Martin, on X at Ice Wars, NYR, VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all season long, and I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game, so join me for some instant insight and analysis, and it's great to talk a little Isles hockey with you, game time or anytime. I'm angry. I'm not going to mince words here. I'm angry and I'm frustrated because win or lose, the one thing that fans expect from their team is an honest effort. And for the second straight game, I'm not so sure that Islander fans got that from their hockey team. It was evident from the second that the puck was dropped that the Buffalo Sabres were ready to play hockey and the New York Islanders were not. And, okay. Sometimes, look, nobody plays a perfect 60-minute hockey game. It's exceedingly rare. So, the puck drops, and for the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, even maybe for a period, you're not playing as well as the other team. You're chasing, you're off, they're on. It's a rough go. And quite honestly, we had that in the first period of this hockey game. And Ilya Sorokin, to his credit, made some unbelievable saves. And after one period, the Islanders were very, very lucky to have no score in this game. So you think, okay, we survived that ugly period. We're still in this game. Let's go out there and show a little life, play inspired hockey. No. The second period, worse than the first. You give up 3 goals. Third period, no better. I mean, yeah, only an empty net goal given up, but I will put it to you this way. At no point during this 60-minute hockey game did I feel that the Islanders were the better team, that they were seriously a threat to score a goal and either get back in the game or even score first and take a lead. At no point did I think the Islanders were the more motivated team, the harder working team, the team that cared more. Not for a minute. And let's face it, that's unacceptable. And I'm going to say something that may not be popular, but I'm going to say it. We all got on Lane Lambert's case when he was the head coach, when the team laid an egg. And there were too many games, I'll admit, that they just didn't play well. It happened again last night. It happened again Monday in LA. Here is a team that had just gone on a 6-game winning streak. Coincidentally, the winning streak coincides with the trade deadline. And, for 6 games, the Islanders are inspired. They play well, and they manage to make sure that the core of the team stays together. Dare I suggest that, A, it's not the coaching so much as it is this team is a little too comfortable, and B, that once they realized the trade deadline was over and that nobody was going anywhere, they sort of relaxed a little too much and took their foot off the gas? Or are we back to this analysis? They got hot at the right time, but they're just not good enough. They're just not good enough to sustain it and make the playoffs. I don't mind losing, but give me an honest effort. I didn't see an honest effort in this game from the start of the game until the end of the game. It was just obvious who the better team was, which team wanted it more. 50-50 puck battle, you knew who was getting it. Loose puck, who was going to get to a loose puck first? A race for a loose puck. I can tell you right now, the Islanders, more often than not, like 8 times out of 10, weren't coming away with the puck. The passing, not crisp. Getting cute with those drop passes again. How many times have we seen that when this team struggles? When you're struggling, you're supposed to go back to basics. The old KISS theory, keep it simple, stupid. When you're struggling, maybe you dump and chase, or you just keep pushing the puck forward. You do the basic things that work for you until you get out of the funk. The Islanders have now gone 2 full games without a goal. And they earned those 2 full games without a goal. First time in 4 years that the Islanders had been shut out back to back. And it's just not acceptable because, look, the Red Wings keep losing, but Tampa Bay, Philly, Washington, Pittsburgh, and now Buffalo. Buffalo, you win this game in regulation, Buffalo's done, okay? It would take a miracle for Buffalo to get into the playoff hunt if the Islanders beat them in regulation. But now, Buffalo's feeling pretty good about themselves. I guarantee you that. The Islanders shouldn't be, because they are falling back to the pack just when you thought they had a chance. And look, the second goal, it was reviewed. Patrick Waugh decided to dispute the goal and try to see if there was goalie interference. I thought it was a very weak challenge, but I understand why he did it, because the team has been so flat. You're just trying to do something to create a spark, or even it's like calling a timeout when you're not really calling a timeout. But it did end up costing the Islanders a power play. They were shorthanded. 2 minutes for delay a game on the unsuccessful challenge. Miraculously, that was one penalty that the Islanders actually killed off, but not good enough. Just not good enough. And this team better wake up, and wake up in a hurry. I mean, Waugh made that move out of desperation, and it didn't end up paying off. We've got more to get to on today's show. My hero and go to the game, and boy, this one may surprise you as well. We'll talk about that. We'll have our Islanders birthday of the day, a player who joined the Islanders as a rookie when they won their first Stanley Cup and stayed with the team for all 4 cup-winning seasons. Let's see if you can guess who it is. It's a forward, a winger. Let's see if you can guess who that is. We've got that. We'll preview both of this weekend's games, all that and more still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from another retirement account with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of first quarter 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of the first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, is a registered broker-dealer. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Hero and GOAT of the game. I'm going to be honest with you. It is not easy to find a hero of the game under these circumstances. It just isn't. But I'm going to give you one. The hero of this game. I could have gone with Ilya Sorokin for keeping the team in the game as long as he did, but no. The hero of the game is Anders Lee. Why? 8 minutes into the third period, with his team sleepwalking, quite honestly, through this game and down 3-0. Anders Lee responds. Connor Clifton of Buffalo gives a cheap shot to Pierre Engvall. Anders Lee comes to the rescue, stands up for his teammate, drops the gloves with Connor Clifton. I thought it was ridiculous that Lee was given the extra 2 minutes for roughing or sort of an instigator penalty under the circumstances. I really don't like that rule because it allows the cheap shot artists to get away with the original cheap shot unless the referees call it right away, which they did not, and they didn't call it at all. And, as the captain, we in the past have been critical of Anders Lee for not being vocal enough or not standing up enough. Well, you know what? He did his job as captain, standing up for his teammate and trying in vain, unfortunately, to motivate his teammates to wake the heck up and start playing hockey. Was it too little too late? Yeah, but he was the only guy seemingly willing to do it. And it can't be that way. You can't have one or two guys. You can't have Anders Lee caring when you're already down 3-0 in the third, and Ilya Sorokin playing well enough to keep you in a game you have no business being in. That can't be your recipe for victory. And to me, Anders Lee, hero of the game, just for standing up for his teammate and saying enough. Go to the game, boy. I mean, there are so many different ways we can go, but for me, it's the lack of effort by the Islanders as a team. It just can't be. I can handle bad. I cannot handle indifference. And that's what it seemed like the Islanders had last night in Buffalo. Little note, by the way, Matt Martin did indeed return to the lineup. Remember, everydayers, we said he would be a game time decision. He did end up playing a mere 6 minutes and 28 seconds, had one shot, 3 hits, and a block shot in the game. But Matt Martin back in, Hudson Fasching back in the press box. And oh, yeah, remember that super line of Bo, Brock, and Barzal? They didn't have a very good game. Bo Horvat -2, Brock and Barzal -1. 1 shot on goal for Brock, 2 for Bo. Barzal, a goose egg. No shots on goal. Not going to work. Not going to work. In the first period, Islander forwards had 1 shot on goal. The team had, I believe it was 4 shots, only 1 by a forward, and that was by fourth liner Cal Clutterbuck. When your fourth line has 3 shots on goal and that matches your first line, that is generally not a good sign for your offense. And this unacceptable effort just leaves me frustrated, to say the least. So the Islanders have 2 games this weekend. They now become extremely, extremely important games. The Islanders need to at least get 3 points this weekend. 4 would obviously be better. And it is time for this team to show that they care, to give that effort. And, Patrick Waugh, probably not going to give him another one of those, practices from the movie Miracle, where he's just going to bag skate with them. When you have back-to-back over the weekend, that isn't likely. But this team needs to take a good, hard look in the mirror and motivate themselves to play like their lives depend on it, because you know what? Playoff-wise, they do. And if they don't give a better effort, they're going to be watching the playoffs like the rest of us. And that's not what we all want, especially after that recent 6-game winning streak. One other note, Kyle Palmieri, 7 hits in this game to lead the Islanders. Anders Lee with 5. He was also, Kyle Palmieri had 4 shots on goal. That led the team, but he was a -2. So again, you take it all with a grain of salt. We have got more to get to on today's show. 2 games this weekend. Ottawa Saturday, the New York Rangers Sunday. We're going to talk about that. We're going to preview both games, plus our Islanders birthday of the day. All that still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Ibotta. Grocery bills are so expensive these days, but now they don't have to be. Start getting cash back on your grocery shopping with the free Ibotta app and get cash back every time you shop. Ibotta is a free app that gives you the most cash back every time you shop on hundreds of items, from groceries to beauty supplies to toys. So you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user earns $256 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip. So you can buy that flight you've been eyeing, that game you're dying to go to, or the fancy dinner you've been craving. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much, but with Ibotta, you add your offers in the app, upload your receipt, and you get real cash back that you can cash out to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONNHL when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back. Use code LOCKEDONNHL. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or Apple Store. Use code LOCKEDONNHL. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channels app. 2 games this weekend. They become even more important after the last 2 games where the Islanders fizzled and didn't make a showing. Saturday, 12:30 Eastern Time, the dreaded matinee. Can the Islanders actually win one of these? Well, they're facing the Ottawa Senators, a team that has been struggling mightily all season long. Ottawa, let's face it, the Senators last place in the Atlantic Division, more than a dozen games under NHL 500. They can score. They're 17th in the league in goals scored, but they're 25th in goals against, and their special teams are pretty dreadful. 27th on the power play, 30th on the penalty kill. So the Islanders need to take advantage there. And look, the Senators, they've undergone some changes at the trade deadline. They were sellers. We look at their lineup: Shane Pinto with Brady Tkachuk and Drake Batherson. That's the top line. Tim Stützle, Mathew Joseph, and Claude Giroux, the second line. From left to right on the third line, Ridley Gregg, Zach Ostapchuk, and Dominic Kubalik. And then the fourth line, the center is Mark Kastelik with Boris Tkachuk to his left, Parker Kelly to his right. Jake Sanderson and Artem Zub are the top defense pair, followed by Jacob Chikrin and Max Gwinnett. And then Eric Brandstrom and Jacob Bernard Docker are the third pair. The goalies, Eunice Korpisalo and Anton Forsberg. A lot of injuries. Josh Norris on IR. Travis Hamonic, Thomas Chabot, and Matthew Highmore, along with Rourke Cartier, they're all out of the lineup. We'll see if any of them are ready to return against the Islanders. Ottawa, in their last game, beating Columbus in a shootout in a battle between the two last place teams in each of the respective divisions in the Eastern Conference. Now, Anton Forsberg was the goalie for Ottawa in that game, so we probably see Eunice Korpisalo on Saturday afternoon. The leading goal scorer right now is Brady Tkachuk, followed by Drake Batherson, with Tim Stützle leading the team with 44 assists. On the power play, it's Tkachuk leading the way with 7 power play goals, with Claude Giroux and Tim Stützle being the main setup men. Look, folks, you're back home. This is a game the Islanders have to win. Then on Sunday, the Islanders head back on the road, albeit to Madison Square Garden, to take on the Rangers. The Rangers let the Islanders down on Thursday. They had an early 2-0 lead and then lose to the Tampa Bay Lightning by a score of 6-3. That ends a 3-game winning streak for the Rangers. Rangers right now sitting pretty in first place, but only 4 points ahead of the Carolina Hurricanes. So the Rangers need the W's as well. They're 11th in the league in goals scored, but 4th in goals against. And they have 2 quality goalies in Igor Shesterkin and Jonathan Quick. Now, just like the Islanders, the Rangers will be on a back-to-back. They're in Pittsburgh Saturday afternoon to face the Penguins. Again, the Islanders need the Rangers to win, even though Pittsburgh is behind us. Better off having the Rangers win. Shesterkin and Quick, 2 quality goalies. Special teams for the Rangers, outstanding. 6th on the power play in the league, 25.1% success. 4th on the PK, 83.8% success. Artemi Panarin, 35 goals. Chris Kreider right behind him at 32. Panarin also 52 assists. He has 87 points in 65 games. This is a team that has talent and depth, and we know when the Islanders and Rangers get together, you're in for a good old-fashioned battle. The line combinations right now for the Rangers: Mika Zibanejad, Chris Kreider, and Jack Roslovic on the top line. Trocheck, Panarin, and Lafreniere. The second line: Alex Wenberg, Will Coyle, Capo Caco on the third line. And then it's Barclay Goodrow centering Jimmy Vesey and Johnny Brodzinski on the fourth line. Ryan Lindgren and Adam Fox, the always dangerous offensive defenseman. That's the top pair. Keandre Miller and Braden Schneider. The second pair, Zach Jones and Eric Gustafson. The third pair, and again, it's Shesterkin and Quick. Odds are that we will see probably for the New York Islanders, Semyon Varlamov on Saturday, and then back to Ilya Sorokin on Sunday against the Rangers. And as far as the Rangers are concerned, well, last night against Tampa Bay, they went with Igor Shesterkin, so they probably go with Quick against Pittsburgh and back to Shesterkin. So the Shesterkin-Sorokin matchup probably going to be shown to us again. Again, to me, important that the Islanders get at least 3 points out of these two games. They've got to get back on track. They've got to play at least well. But right now, we need to see more from this hockey team. Time now for our Islanders' birthday of the day. And, Saturday will be the 64th birthday of former Islanders winger Duane Sutter of the famous Sutter brothers. The Viking, Alberta native, drafted by the Isles in the first round in 1979 and made his NHL debut later that year in 79-80, scored 15 goals in just 56 games for the Islanders and played in 21 playoff games as the Islanders won their first Stanley Cup. His best year in the postseason, by the way, the Islanders' final Stanley Cup win back in 83 in 20 games. Duane Sutter, 9 goals, 21 points, and 43 penalty minutes. Stayed with the Islanders through the 86-87 season and then finished up his career with 3 years with the Chicago Blackhawks. Later became a head coach for the Florida Panthers for 1+ season and was an assistant coach for a few years with them as well. For his NHL career, Duane Sutter, 731 games, 139 goals, 342 points, and 1,333 penalty minutes, add 26 goals and 58 points in 161 playoff games. And one of his best moments as an Islander, well, we go to April 15th, 1983, Patrick Division Finals. Back then, the second round of the playoffs, Islanders hosting the Rangers at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Glenn Hanlon and Billy Smith are the goalies. And in this game, with the Islanders already up by a score of 1-0, on the power play, our Islanders' birthday of the day, Duane Sutter, his second of the playoffs from Tomas Janssen, makes it 2-0 Islanders. Then late in the first, Bob Bourne sets up Duane Sutter. That makes it 3-0 Islanders. And then in the second period, after his brother Brent scored, Duane Sutter completes the hat trick, a playoff hat trick. Bob Bourne and Brent Sutter with the assists. The Islanders cruise to a 5-0 win over the Rangers to take a 2-0 lead in the series that the Islanders would eventually win in 6 games. And by the way, as far as hat tricks go, for Duane Sutter, this was the only one of his NHL career. But could it come at a better time? A playoff game against the Rangers. So great to see that. And Duane Sutter is our Islanders' birthday of the day. Thanks again for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Everydayers will be back on Monday. We will have our key takeaways from both this weekend's games, and hopefully the Islanders will have shown enough to at least stay in the thick of the playoff race. Make sure you join us for that, and we will have our 1-minute short videos on YouTube after each game this weekend. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe, and of course, let's go Islanders.